So recently I have been posting videos of how I did a folio, Tim Hortons folio, Tim Hortons. That's coffee here in Canada. Tim Holtz's folio, but in Dylusions style. And as I've been editing the videos, I noticed there's some missing. So I felt kind of bad for that. And also I was thinking, like, I don't know how easy they are to get now. Like, I know they've been out for a while. I've still seen them on Simon Says Stamps. I think I have. But I can't get it like at Michael's. So, but anyway, even if like you can't find one, or if you just like making your own, I thought I would make one using file folders. I'm not going to make it the same size as the original. Like, this is the original. Like, this is Tim Holtz, not Tim Hortons. This is Tim Holtz folio. So, and this is the file folders that I'll be using. So that's quite a difference in size. And I'm not going to do everything exactly the same either. Like, I'm going to add more to it. Like, I added more to this one than what it came with, but I don't know. I just want to add even more to the one I'll be making. So this one will be bigger. I don't think I will. I do have these elastics, but I don't think I'll be adding that for a closure. I don't really have an exact plan. I only went so far with the planning, and I feel like it's one of those things that's kind of better for me to talk as I'm doing it and explain what I'm doing, rather than do it and then try to remember exactly what I was doing and, you know, go back and measure. So I figure it's easier just to go with the flow, and I don't know, I'll figure it out as I go. So last night I started, and then it was getting late and I had to go to bed, even though I wasn't tired, but you know, it's a school night. So I stopped what I was doing, but I did get so far with an idea. And so I'll show you what I did. And I put notes on here so I would remember, but I'm going to do it for you. So I took one, and the size of my file folders are oh sure, it's not 11.5 and it's not 3/4. I'm going to check with this ruler as well, because sometimes they be different. It is 11 5/8 long. And if I measure from this side to the end of the tab, it is 9.5. Like, it's just a pencil mark away from 9.5. Like, not even a full stroke. So we're calling it 9.5. So for the first one, I put it this way, and it may end up being a pain in the butt, but I like the idea. I have it planned that this one will be glued to here, and this is going to stick out, because I like the idea of that being there like a tab. even though like it's, you know, out and exposed, but I don't know. I'm thinking I may end up backing the back of it with some chipboard or something to make it more sturdy, or even something like a cereal box might be strong enough. I don't know, we'll see. So for the first file folder, I just folded all along the scored lines, just so you get that, like, you know how this is, just so you get that curve. Because if we just leave it like that, then that's not giving us room to expand. But if we fold the file along all the score lines, then that will be our spine and will give us room to make this baby thick. See, the one thing I don't like about recording live, like as I'm doing it, is that I can't play music. And it is so quiet without music. I'm used to painting and stuff with the music playing. So the silence is driving me crazy. It makes it easier. You can put your ruler against that score line. It's a lot easier. So now we have all those score lines folded, and we have our curve. And we're going to take a second one and do the same thing, but have it turned this way. So we're going to fold along all those score lines. I swear I didn't have this much trouble doing it last night when I wasn't recording. Isn't that the way it always goes? So now on this back piece, I measured in, and I measured from this last printed line, I measured in from that one 1/4 of an inch. And I'm just going to draw that line down. And I don't always trust my pencil marks, but it gives me a handy about area. So I'll line up all these lines on the Tim Holtz ruler is great. I'll line one of those lines up to the edge of my file folder. And how wide is my tape? Well, it's like 3/8. So, do I want 3/8 or do I want 1/2 inch? So I did that one 1/2 inch, but my tape is only 3/8. Well, I'm still going to do it 1/2 inch because that'll give a little room on each side for air. And you don't need to draw all these lines, but I just think it'll be easier for when we're ready to assemble it. And so that's where the glue is going to go, or in my case the tape. So that is all we'll do to that back cover. So the idea is that if we fold this back to the original way it is, then we will have tape. There's an easier way to do that. I'm just measuring, that's the 1/2 inch. So imagine there's a strip of tape there on this file folder, and that will match up to here. And that's where we will glue this one. Now I'm off camera a little. But before we do that, we need to cut some of this piece because it is going over our spine. It is too long. So I figured we would do this 7 inches. And that is 7 inches from this 1/2 inch that's going to be glued to the back of the folder. So if you want to, you can mark 1/2. So I just measured in 1/2 inch from this first score line here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 score lines. I measured 1/2 inch from that first one. And then I'm going to measure from that line I just drew. I'm going to measure 7 inches. And then we're going to cut this off. Oh, no, I think that should fit in here. Yep. So I'm going to cut that off. So now, as you see, this is our back, this is our cover. This will be glued to the back cover, and it measures 7 inches. So we have like 1/2 inch, I would say. We have 1/2 inch space from where this will be to the beginning of the spine. So that's plenty of room. Excuse me. So then this part, you know how the Folio has the cover and then it has this flap? So this is our cover and this is going to be our flap, but we don't want it as big as the cover. So I was thinking 4 inches. I want it bigger than the one that's on the Folio. So from this last score line this way, I'm going to measure 4 inches. And if you want yours bigger or smaller, you measure yours however big you would like it. So that's my last score line. And I'm measuring 4 inches from there. And then we're going to cut this off. But don't throw it out because, like I said, I don't have this all planned out yet, and we may use it for something. So any pieces that you cut off, don't throw them out, because you never know when I'll tell you to grab one of those pieces. So now we're going to cut that off and keep it. So now we will have imagine that's attached. We have the back, we have the cover, and then we have our flat that comes around. And I'm going to round my edges. You don't have to. If you like the blunt look, you can leave them sharp corners. But I like them rounded. Now I'm not going to round these because this is going to be attached to the back. So we're not going to attach anything yet, because I was thinking for this back part we can do slits. I'll show you. So I was thinking we would have 3 slots and we could stick tags in them. Now I've never done this before, but I've seen it done where on the back, sometimes they'll glue an envelope or something on the back. So like say this tag, all 3 tags may be the same size. So if this tag is this long, then it'll stop here and you'll be able to see it. But if this next tag is the same size and it's going in here, then you want it to be sticking this much over this slot. But if there's nothing to stop it, then it's going to slide all the way down behind this one. And the same thing with this one, it'll slide all the way down, you won't be able to get it out. So I'm going to have to create some sort of envelope. If you already have envelopes, just use that, but I know I have some somewhere, but I thought just in case you guys don't have one, everybody has printer paper, right? Or just scrap paper. It doesn't even matter if it's ruled paper, because you're not going to see it. So any thin paper that you have, you can use it. So first, I think we will make our slots, so then, and we'll make a tag so we know how big it's going to be. So I measured on this one, I made, now I wanted them centered. So this is like from that, I measured from that line we drew, the 7 inches. So half of 7 is 3.5. So the Tim Holtz ruler is great because it has that centering mark. So I just put this at 3.5. And then I marked the center. And then I went out 2¼ inches from each side of the 0. So our slot is 4.5, sorry. Our slot is 4.5 inches. So I don't want it to come out too close to the edges. And we can make our own tags, or you can use already made tags. So the first one is 4 inches up from the bottom. So we're marking this on the piece of paper that we just cut for the flap that goes around, and the piece that's going to be glued to our back cover. This is the piece that we're doing our slots on. And if it helps, just write back cover, so you know which is which. You can say glue to back cover, just so you can keep note of what's what. So I'm going to measure 4 inches up from the bottom. I'm just going to make a little line. And then this is 7 inches. So we're going to want this at 3.5. So put the edge of the paper, like if you have the centering ruler, do it at 3.5. So the 3.5 is on the edge of the paper here, and the 3.5 is on this line that we drew. And then we are going to go 2.25 that way, and 2.25 that way. And then just put your ruler up. I just went up, I don't know if you can see, but the ruler has these little lines going this way. So I just went up 1 line. So it's not even, it's probably about 1/8 of an inch. So go up 1/8 of an inch from that line you just drew and draw a second one. I wonder if that'll be too big. Yeah, I'm not going to draw that second line because I feel like that's too big. And when we do the cuts, we'll just go up slightly because you only need the slightest bit of a difference. So I'm going to erase that second line. Okay, so we have our first slot. And then we're going to measure up 2 inches from this one for our second one. So again, putting the ruler at 3.5 on our line and 3.5 on the edge of our paper. And from the centering mark, we're going to go 2.25 and 2.25. And then we'll measure up 2 inches from that line. And we'll do the same thing again. Putting our centering line at 3.5. And then from the 0, we're going out 2.25 to the right and 2.25 to the left. Okay, now with an X-Acto knife, or you could use your paper trimmer. I think I'm going to use my paper trimmer. Or can I? Oh, it just fits. So I trust this more than I trust me with a knife. So move your blade up to somewhere in between, like somewhere along our cut line. Okay, so once you have that cut line, just move your paper over the slightest little bit. And then do that cut again. No, I'm still in the same spot. Okay. No, I might have to do the second cut with a knife. I'm not getting over far enough. There we go, let's try that. Nope. That, or I'm doing it so well that it's taken a whole piece of paper. I'm going to save that second cut for the knife. So we'll line up our second line. And then our third. So now the Tim Holtz ruler has a metal edge. Use that edge to cut along. And just go slightly away from that first line that you cut. I think my blade's very tight. And just cut. Yeah, my knife is weird. Just cut a sliver. And this is why I'd rather use a paper trimmer. Mine looks so messy. Okay, I don't know what's going on with my knife. If it still gives me grief now, I'm finding another one. Okay, I have this one. I haven't even decided how I'm decorating this album. Like, am I painting it? Am I covering it in paper? Am I doing Dylusions? Like, I have no idea what I am doing, but I feel like I need to decide before I attach anything, because I may want to, like, if we're painting it, probably want to paint it before we glue it together. Okay, so just go slightly down from that line that you cut and make a second cut line. Didn't cut all the way through. That's much better than the first one. So you see how small they are? That's not very big at all. It's just to make the tag easier to put in and out. I don't know which one is for which. I think they both, no, this one. Put that one away. Okay, so now I'm going to grab a tag so you can see. Like this probably won't be the tag I'll use because I'll probably want something wider. Okay, so this is our cover. That will be attached. And then we'll have those slots so we can put tags in there. Isn't that cool? Okay, so now the part we need to figure out is this bottom one is fine. That one won't need a pocket because the bottom will be glued and that'll stop the tag from going down any further. But this one, say, this one's going to stick above that slot about say 1/2 inch. So let's say we want this one, if we do it this same height, let's just say we want the pocket that deep. Then I can feel where the tag is. So we'll want that paper. I'm going to hold that in place so I can see. So we'll want it to come to there. So that's 3.5 inches. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to cut this one. So I'm just going to get this one prepared, and then I will tell you my better idea. I'm getting hungry. I had supper. I'm trying to do them both with my paper trimmer instead of having to do it with my knife. See how much more confident you are the second time around? And I have another idea for this as well. And this is why you always watch a video before you go ahead and do it. Ooh, let's see if my husband's picking up my son. Ooh, I made that one a bit too big. So with these, I'm going to hole punch. This is where this one comes in handy too, because you can punch a hole further in, whereas a regular hole punch I can't get into here. Okay, I'm going to do the bigger hole, and I'm going to, oh I got some foam in there, sticky foam. So I'm putting it on the 3/16 hole. And I'm punching a hole right at the end of the slot. do that one. And that will also take care of that. See, I think that looks nicer. I'm going to see, I'm just seeing where I put that in. I'm sliding up my bar so I can get the same measurement. I'm doing the next one and the next one. Okay, now for this one, yeah, I think that looks nicer. Looks more neat, more professional. Like I know what I'm doing. They will never know unless they watch this video. Then they'll know I'm just swinging it. But we learn from our mistakes, right? Okay, so we want those pockets. I'm going to take this piece of paper, and what I'm thinking, instead of having this lined up, do it so one side is bigger. I'm going to ink the edge so you can see. You'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So instead of going, that's not very visible. Let's see. Finish. I'm only doing this so you can see where I'm lining the paper up, because it's not a decorative touch. So instead of folding it all the way up to the edge, come down some. Let's see how big that would be. So we wanted it 3.5. Down a bit more yet. I'm just going to measure 3.5 so I can see where I want it to fold. Okay, we're not going to need all that, but we can trim that off after. So we need 2 pockets that are 4 3/4. That's 1, 2. That's garbage. Get rid of my garbage. So what I'm thinking that will work better is if that is glued below and that is glued above. Okay, you know how we fold it that way? So if this shorter piece is glued below the slot line, and then we glue this piece above the slot line, it will go in the pocket. It has no other choice but to go in the pocket. It will just work that way. We don't need to trim any off if we don't want to. I'm trying to decide if I want to close up my sides or not, because it'll make it easier if I don't. Actually, that's fine. I'll close up my sides. See why I don't do videos where I talk as I go? Because I don't have it all figured out. This is going to work. I know it. Good feeling this time. Okay. So we're going to add a piece of sticky tape there. Below the line. Remember, we don't need to do one for the bottom one. So we're going to add sticky tape below our slots. Just the top two. And we don't need to. And then along the top of this paper. And I'm not even going to bother with the wet glue. I'm just going to do these. So we're adding it to the top of the longer end. This is going to work, people. Take off that piece of score tape. I'm just going to fold that one up a bit now. So I'm just folding this back so I can see where the edge of this paper is, and I am lining it up with the bottom of that slot. And making sure that is stuck down. So I'm going to fold that down and remove my sticky tape. So we're going to do the same thing with this one. So that shorter edge, we are lining the shorter edge up with the bottom of the slot. And then we're folding that down and removing that. So this should work. And I may need to stop recording if it doesn't and take a break. Okay, so our first pocket, our second one, and our third one. That is so much easier. It goes in no problem. Now, if I looked it up on YouTube how to do this, I probably could have had it done like, but no, I had to figure it out for myself. Yay! Now, if that white is going to bother you, you could use black paper if you want, or if you have an idea of what how you're already decorating it, you can paint it so it blends in with the back. I'm not gonna worry about it. But yay! And one thing I was also thinking, I'm not gonna do it yet because this needs to be painted. Around these circles, I was thinking we could add like reinforcements. Like you can either use like, you can buy pretty ones. Thinking they could go there. That'll be pretty. Then you can just cut where those slots are if you want to. Or you can make your own. You can buy plain ones and just paint them, ink them, stamp them, whatever you want to do with them. So that is that one. It worked. So that is what's going to get glued to our back cover. Yay! It's gonna work. See how much easier that goes in and out now. Okay, I'm proud. I'm gonna take a break so I can drink some water and figure out where I'm going from here.